Hi crafty friends, it's Shana from Shanuki Arts. This is card number 45 in Full Deck Challenge 2. The prompts are patchwork, stitching, sentiment or word. For the patchwork part, I'm again going to use my little box of scraps that is on my desk and find a few pieces for my patchwork from this. For my stitching, I'm going to use some embroidery thread. I selected the pink for now, but I could change my color depending what I use. And for my words or sentiments, I'm going to go through some magazines and find either some letters or some words to use from here. To start off with, I'm going to need a few bits of paper for my patchwork. I'm not sure yet what colors I'm going to go with or how many I'm going to need, so I'm just collecting a few that I like. I'm loving the pinks and florals and greens, so I think I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go through my pile and find a few different ones that could be used. Again, I'm not quite sure yet how many I'm going to need, so I'm picking more than I actually am going to use. Another great way to use up your scraps, and you don't just have to use it on an altered playing card, you can use the same technique for a journal cover, a journal page, or even to make small little ATCs to send out to your crafty friends. I'm going to start tearing my pieces into small squarish shapes. They're going to be very rough, it's not going to be exact, and I'm going to put them down sort of in a patchwork theme. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, and it's just going to be lots of small different pieces of different designs to make it look like a patchwork. I'm also using a piece of calico fabric. Whatever you have goes. In my mind, when I was imagining this, there were going to be more pieces, but I think just 6 is enough. You could make lots of smaller pieces, but I'm liking it like this, so more of the design is showing from each piece. You can make it with smaller ones or even bigger pieces if you prefer. Once you have all the pieces you're going to use and you know where on the card they're going to go, we're going to stick them down. I'm going to use Mod Podge from mine. You could also use craft glue or glue stick or gel medium. It's never too late to join in the Full Deck Challenge. You can join at any time. This is near the end of Full Deck Challenge 2. We've also done Full Deck Challenge 1. I'll put both playlists in the description box below. And if you're on Facebook, do search for my group. It's called Full Deck Challenge Group. Once these are all stuck down, I'm going to now go through my magazine to find some words. Originally in my mind, I had the idea of finding different small letters to make up a word, but that didn't really work out when I was paging through the magazine. I actually found some really nice words in a beautiful font, so I cut those out. And always cut out or find more than you need. You can always use them in another project, but I think it's better to have a few to choose from so you can see what's going to suit your project as you're going on. I love using magazines, and there's so many ways that you can use them. You could use the text, there's beautiful colors and prints that you could use, for example, for collage backgrounds or your mixed media. You can find words and letters, or even if you find, for example, a flower or a butterfly, you could use that as a focal point in your project. And you don't need a stack of magazines to be able to create a project. Even with just one, there is so much in there that you can use. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to create some videos showing you how to use magazines in your projects. Now that we have found a few words, let's see how we're going to place them on our project. I have found the words sweet and memories, and I'm going to put those together. They're in a beautiful cursive font, so I like the way they look. I'm going to place them onto another piece of cardstock, a coordinating one. It's going to be a green with little polka dots, and I'm going to place that as an additional patchwork piece on top of the other patchwork pieces. I'm tearing a piece that's going to fit my words, one on top of the other, and I'm going to glue those down with glue stick. Because it's magazine paper and it's quite thin, it doesn't need a lot of glue. Any kind of craft glue would make it buckle, so glue stick is perfect for this kind of paper. I'm just moving it around up and down to see where is the perfect placement, and I decide that the center would work best. I'm going to apply a small amount of glue just to keep this in place, because now we're going to do the stitching. And I'm not going to use my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch by hand. I'm going to use my awl to create the holes so it's easier to stitch, and I'm using an old yellow pages, if you remember those from the old days, so that when I press through it doesn't make a hole into my desktop. So I'm creating holes about 1 centimeter apart all the way around the green patchwork piece that has my words on. You don't have to create the holes first, you can just stitch directly. I just find it easier and quicker to do it this way. Once our holes are ready, I'm going to thread my embroidery needle with my pink embroidery thread, and I'm going to start stitching through. I'm not going to do anything fancy, it's just going to be up and down, just like a running stitch all the way around. The holes I've made are not evenly spaced, so my stitching won't be evenly spaced, but I like it like that. It has an overall rough, rustic look. If you want it really neat and your patchwork squares are also neater, you can of course measure the holes and make them exactly the same distance between each one. This is all personal preference. I tied a knot in the beginning at the edge of my thread so that it doesn't go through, and now I'm going to just do like a double slip knot at the back just to hold this in place and tie it into a knot. Mine isn't going to be very neat, but that's okay. If you do want to use the back side of your card, you can always stick a piece of paper over the section so you don't see all the stitching and edging. And now I'm feeling it's still a little bit empty. I think it needs something more. So I've decided I'm going to do the same stitching all the way around the card. So bringing back again my yellow pages and my awl, I'm going to punch the holes all the way around. About the same distance as the ones I did for my sentiment frame. If you are following along this full deck challenge too, just to clarify, but the previous card, in the previous video at the beginning, I said that it was card number 42 and then I gave the prompts. And then realizing that I've actually used obviously the 3 cards, and some of you will only have the one deck that you're working on. So you would have used 3 cards from the deck. I changed the prompt to be for card 42, 43 and 44. That is why this one is number 45. I really hope that it hasn't caused too much confusion. I'm threading my second piece of thread and I'm going to do my stitching all the way around my card. Tying that off at the back and then trimming the excess thread. I feel it needs something more just for contrast all the way around the edge. I'm going to use some Distress ink and go just over the edge just to darken that and create a contrast. I also feel it finishes it off really well. Let me show you a close-up of my patchwork altered playing card. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to create your own. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Thanks for watching, happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!